You miss Carly? Oh, I'm getting a, I have an echo up here. No, I'm hearing it out of the computer too. You can turn that audio on. Testing. Here's the ground here. No? All right, testing.
I think it's in the program. You can shut off your own. No, I'm on the computer.
Yeah. You'd think after a while you wouldn't get any new things, right? Right. I know. Okay. We think we figured it out. It's just Mary's a stupid user sometimes. All right, let's try this again. Good morning. This is the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Pottstown. I'm Mary Bryan. I am your lay leader this morning, which I found out at 10:15. So let's say things have started out very well today. Our speaker is the lovely Miss Miranda Van Horn. Carly Shell, as usual, is at our piano. And Justine Braun is doing our recording for posterity. So, we have been here now, we always say more than 50 years. Well, now we can start to say we've passed 56. So now we can say almost 60. How's that sound, everybody? So, and we've tried to bring our liberal voice throughout Pottstown, which means we're allowed, we believe in diversity, and our 7 principles on the back of the order of service, which we usually have. We're having fun. And we want everybody to come and join us to have a lovely, thoughtful Sunday morning and to come away hopefully a little richer in thought and mind. And we're all glad everybody has been able to join us both here and online, and hopefully in the future watching on YouTube. So wherever you are, wherever you come from, and whomever you love, thank you for joining us. Now, we have time for announcements. Going once.
This is a reminder that we have the donation box for all 4 paws in the social hall. And the list of donations that you can donate is on the side of the box. Please donate. This is a reminder. Thank you.
Can I ask you a quick question? Is that just for dogs or dogs and cats?
I think there are some cats, but it's mostly dogs. So like dog food.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, I'm Monica. We changed our goddess gatherings up, so they're not every week. They're gonna be once a month now. And our next one is on the first, it's the first Friday of December. So it's gonna be the first Friday of every month. And it's gonna be around noon time, and if you can make it, if that time doesn't work for you and you'd like it to be later, we are adjustable. We can figure that out, but it's held here. You can bring your lunch if you want, and we just talk and have fun, so. Oh yeah, sure. So it's called Goddess Gathering, but it's basically for anyone who feels feminine, who wants to come, and we talk about all sorts of things. Sometimes we do exhibits, which are full moon rituals. Sometimes we talk about a book we read, or we talk about life. Sometimes, you know, it's very open, and kind of the people that come drive what makes it. So yeah, it's fun. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.
This is for future planning for you. This is a save the date. On January 1st, we're going to have a labyrinth here in the sanctuary. The labyrinth rolls out and covers the whole floor, and you'll be here in the afternoon. There'll be more details later, but I just want to let you know so you can save the date. January 1st.
And if I think she would like, if somebody could come over on, help out sometime on the 31st, roll it out.
We're rolling it out on. I can't remember when you're rolling it out. That'll be.
She'll make the announcement. It's behind the thing. It's huge. Okay, and it's now time for our chalice lighting. Ms. Chloe, our expert chalice lighter. Spark of spirit, up to first embrace, light of love, alive in all creation. As we kindle this flame, we rekindle our connection to the sacred web of life. And now Miranda will be doing our opening words.
Okay. Now. Share my screen. I did it. Thank you for your patience. Let's see. I am not finding a place where I can. Thank you. And click that one. There we go. And there we are. So now the things have happened the way they should. You're looking at a picture of a Japanese artist named Hokusai. Our opening words are excerpts from a poem. Hokusai says, it's written by Asian studies scholar Roger Keyes. He wrote this poem about probably the most well-known Japanese artist in the West. His name was Katsushika Hokusai, who is most well-known the world over for his woodblock print of the Great Wave, or the Great Wave of Kanagawa. And that is this You recognize it? Lots of people do. And you know, the tricky thing about this, the important thing about this picture is that you can see the wave, which might be small or might be large. You can see a boat. Does my little pointer shows you. You see there's a boat here with people on it, which is small, but in the background is Mount Fuji. So Mount Fuji figures in this prominently, but it's one of the smallest things in the picture. Hokusai published these or made a series of these wood block prints, and the wood block prints are done one color at a time. So he would carve out the blue and carve out a wood block for the white and carve out a wood block for the gray, and all of his pictures for his wood block prints were done this way. And he did this series called 36 Views of Mount Fuji. And I don't have the rest of them certainly for this morning, but and that's where the wave comes from. And I'm just telling you so that you would know what a fine artist he was. This is one of my favorites of his. And sometimes my hands shuffle. And that's another one. And I'm going to leave it there. And I'm going to read the poem that Keyes wrote. Hokusai Says by Roger Keyes. Hokusai says, look carefully. He says, pay attention, notice. He says, keep looking, stay curious. He says, there is no end to seeing. He says, look forward to getting old. He says, keep changing. You just get more who you really are. He says, get stuck, accept it, repeat. Repeat yourself as long as it's interesting. He says, keep doing what you love. He says, keep praying. He says, everyone is a child. Every one of us is ancient. Every one of us has a body. He says, everything is alive. Shells, buildings, people, fish, mountains, trees, wood is alive. Water is alive. Everything has its own life. Everything lives in us. He says, live with the world inside you. He says, it doesn't matter if you draw or write books. It doesn't matter if you saw wood or catch fish. It doesn't matter if you sit at home and stare at the ants on your veranda, or the shadows of the trees and grasses in your garden. It matters that you care. It matters that you feel. It matters that you notice. It matters that life lives through you. Contentment is life living through you. Joy is life living through you. Satisfaction and strength is life living through you. Peace is life living through you. He says, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Look, feel. Let life take you by the hand. Let life live through you. Our opening hymn is number 38, Morning Has Broken. now it's time for a story for all ages. Mary, I could use some help. I'm gonna share my screen again. And bring it up. Let's see here. Go to the next slide. It's very beautiful. Yes, now we have to do this with the. Thank you. Are we all set? Do we have anything else want to come up? You sit on there. Thank you, dear. You want it? All right, I'm gonna wrap it. All right. I have a special book for today because later in this service, we're gonna talk about wonder. You know what wonder is? What's wonder? Sorry. Can you say it again?
You're trying to figure out things that you don't know.
Right, it's when you have this feeling of wow, what's going on? And the word fits right in there, doesn't it? Okay, so the name of this book is Wonder Walkers. It's written by Micah Archer. Wonder Walkers. Wonder Walk? Not sure. It's the sun of the world's light bulb. Is fog the river's blanket? Do mountains have bones? Are forests the mountains fur? That's really kind of like a funny quote. I wonder. Me too. Are trees the sky's legs? Are branches the tree's arms? Yes. Is dirt the world's skin? Are roots the planet's toes? The plant's toes? Can't read those. Do caves have mouths? Are shells the shore's necklace? Is the ocean the world's bath? Something like that, right? Are rivers the earth's veins? Why do they say veins? What is a vein? We have veins, right? A vein. It carries. That's right. And then the earth's veins carry the water. Is the wind the world breathing? Is rain the day's tears? Is the moon the world's nightlight?
Yes.
I wonder. Me too. Okay, it's time to say it's to the Be able to go back in. So now share, okay. Amazing. Today's topic is about developing the skills we need in order to find more wonder in our lives. A regular mindfulness meditation practice can help you increase your mind's and your body's tendency to be available for noticing objects and events of awe and wonder. We'll take Hokusai's advice. We'll practice paying attention and noticing. Apropos of that and Thanksgiving, this morning's meditation is entitled Renew Your Sense of Gratitude. It's written by Eve Ekman, and in case you'd like to sit to this meditation again, I really like it. It's something you could do on a daily basis, and it's not very long. If you'd like to do that, this week, I believe you can find a recording of this meditation on UC Berkeley's Greater Good Science Center website. It just does a little thing, even we can click the little arrow and it'll play it for you, which is amazing. So take a comfortable position. That feet flat on the floor is best. If it's comfortable for you, you can close your eyes. Shoulders down and relaxed. Face relaxed. Arms can go to the side, hands on your thighs, but don't put your hands too close to your knees because your shoulders will get pulled forward. You want an erect position, but relax. Feel the whole body being supported by the chair beneath you and the floor. As we breathe in, we have the sense of really being able to expand and extend our breath. And as we breathe out, we allow the breath to be a little bit longer. Settling in. Two more breaths here, extending the inhale just as much as it feels comfortable. And lengthening the exhale. Now take a moment just to notice the sensations in your body. Notice what it feels like to be in the body, from within the body itself. Noticing maybe the area of your chest or the belly. Notice your face, not as though you're looking down at it, but feeling from within your body. Now we'll shift our attention and awareness away from the body and to memory and imagination and the mind. Consider a time in the last week when you received kindness. This could be so simple. Maybe it was a supportive text. Maybe someone reached out and helped you with a big job. Just consider a simple act of kindness that you've received in this last week and recall the details. Who was involved? What happened? What were you thinking and feeling? Often when we bring to mind a memory of kindness, we start to have a sense of that kindness right here, now. Maybe there's a smile on your lips, or even a feeling of a smile in your heart. A simple appreciation for the kindness of another being. Gently releasing this memory now and allowing it to just dissipate into the background and shifting to thinking of a time in the last week or so in which you extended a kindness. Maybe you were kind to a family member, a friend, a colleague. And it could be something so simple. Some kind word, maybe showing up with a favorite treat. Bring to mind this example and again, remember the details vividly. Make it real. Who was involved? What were you seeing and feeling and thinking? What was it like to extend kindness? Take a couple of moments here just to savor this feeling. Remembering kindness. So often we move through life and we miss remembering and seeing all these simple acts of kindness happening everywhere around us. Consider setting an intention for the next day or two of really noticing kindness. The kindness we're receiving, the kindness we're extending, maybe even the kindness we see between two other people. And give yourself this chance to savor the feeling of observing kindness, feeling its goodness. Connect with the sensations in the body. Notice how it feels in the chest and in the belly. Maybe you can be aware of the sensations of gratitude and appreciation. Now we'll have another hymn, and this is, I would like you to just stay seated, if you will, sort of goes with the meditation. It's number 83, Winds Be Still.
Now it's time for our offering, where we put the treasure part of the 3 T's, time, talent, and treasure that we all donate here to the UUFP. So we're going to pass the baskets. And thank you so much for your generosity. It helps us keep the lights on and other things. So, thank you. Yeah, thank your church. Now, can this is going to work? All of a sudden, I don't have a cursor. I got it. I have it. What's up? Don't tell me I need a battery. Sometimes I have a cursor and sometimes I don't. It could be that the little thingy doesn't. I was just pressing this and make sure that I would go through my. When in doubt, right? Let the engineering first rule, if it doesn't work, you take or something. And if we break it, it didn't work anyway. So let's see. Oh. I do not have a cursor again. I think they're out of this one. Does anybody have a, do we have any? Double A. I had my other computer bag with me, and I have batteries in there. Thank you again for your patience. It's a good thing you did meditate early in this. You've all taken this very well. So, for our reading this morning, we have the very last paragraph of Charles Darwin's book, The Origin of the Species. The very last paragraph. He said, "It's interesting to contemplate a tangled bank, clothed with many plants of many kinds, with birds singing on the bushes, with various insects flitting about, with worms crawling through the damp earth, and to reflect that these elaborately constructed forms, so different from each other and dependent on each other, in so complex a manner, have all been produced by laws acting around us. These laws, taken in the largest sense, being growth with reproduction, inheritance, which is almost implied by reproduction,
and variability from the indirect and direct action of the conditions of life and from use and disuse, a ratio would increase so high as to lead to a struggle for life, and as consequence to natural selection, entailing divergence of character and the extinction of less improved forms. Thus, from the war of nature, from famine and death, the most exalted object which we are capable of conceiving, namely the production of higher animals, directly follows. There is grandeur in the view of life, with its several powers, having been originally breathed by the Creator into a few forms or into one, and that whilst this planet has gone cycling on according to the fixed law of gravity, from so simple a beginning, endless forms, most beautiful and most wonderful, have been and are evolved. And now I'll read some commentary on Darwin's paragraph by Dr. Keltner. Keltner is an expert in the science of emotion, and he's the author of the book Awe, the New Science of Everyday Wonder and How It Can Transform Your Life. And he's the faculty director of UC Berkeley's Greater Good Science Center. Keltner says, there in one paragraph is Darwin's epiphany that life has evolved and is ever evolving. I take this moment in Darwin's life and writing to be a story of awe. It is grounded in a new way of seeing some essential truth about the world. This passage follows awe's familiar unfolding. There's wonder, vastness, mystery, and kindness. As in other stories of awe we have read, Darwin turns to metaphor. As in a traditional ecological knowledge, Darwin sees the profound interdependence of species. We find reconciliation of the awesome and awful, that the war of nature gives birth to endless forms, most beautiful. In taking a tangled bank near a river, birds singing, insects flitting about, and worms doing their composting work in the damp earth, Darwin saw the laws of evolution, growth, reproduction, inheritance, variability, and extinction. In awe, Darwin found grandeur in this view of life. Awe, Keltner says, is about knowing, sensing, seeing, and understanding fundamental truths, and leads to epiphanies across the 8 wonders of life, transforming how we see the essential nature of our world. Thus ends the reading. And now the sermon. The sermon is entitled More Wonder as Promised. Back in July, I shared with you in a talk something of the burgeoning new science of finding and measuring examples of empathic behavior in non-human species like generosity and kindness in monkeys and elephants, and a display of emotional support for a human by a swan, and how events like that to me are awesome. In my description of the topic for that Sunday in the UUFP newsletter, I promised to share with you how to increase the wonder and joy in your life. But I got so caught up with my own joyful experience of the awe I felt for the subject of empathic behavior in animals that I absent-mindedly lost track of that intention. Today, I will make good on the intention. So before we practice finding awe, I want to share with you an article that's published in the New York Times last January entitled, How a Bit of Awe Can Improve Your Health. It was written by Hope Reese, and a little transparency here, much of what it covers was a part of a wonderful talk given by J.D. Stillwater here sometime within the last year or so. So let's let the next bit of this talk serve as a sort of review of some of the things that J.D. Stillwater told us. And her article takes care of that nicely. In Reese's article, which was a report of her interview with psychologist Keltner, who wrote the commentary on Darwin's last paragraph in the reading. Author Hope Reese quotes Dr. Keltner, "Awe is the feeling of being in the presence of something that transcends your understanding of the world. But awe is also simpler than we think and accessible to everyone. The truth is that awe can be part of everyday life. Experiencing awe comes from what Dr. Keltner has called a perceived vastness, as well as something that challenges us to rethink our previously held ideas. Awe can be triggered from moments like seeing the Grand Canyon or witnessing an act of kindness. About a quarter of awe experiences are flavored with feeling threatened," he said, "and they can arise, for example, from looking at a lion in a zoo, or even gruesome videos of genocide." According to Judith Maskowitz, a professor of medical social sciences at Northwestern University, intentional awe experiences like walks in nature, collective movement like dance or ceremony, even use of psychedelics improve psychological well-being. Later in this article, Reese shares Dr. Keltner's reasons for developing skills for finding more awe in your life. Just move this along a little. That's an odd person. Not odd, ODD, but odd. Awe is free. Awe is found everywhere. It doesn't require fuel, nor does it require much time. We have a basic need for awe wired into us. And because brief moments of awe are good for you and good for your mind, and scientists have learned are good for your body. Keltner's research suggests that experiences of awe have tremendous health benefits that include calming down your nervous system and triggering the release of oxytocin, the love hormone that promotes trust and bonding. They are critical to our well-being. It also has psychological benefits, quelling the critical voice in our head, telling us we're not smart, beautiful, or rich enough. Awe seems to quiet this negative self-talk by deactivating the part of the cortex involved in how we perceive ourselves. Studies have shown that patients recovering in hospital rooms that provide a view of trees recover more quickly than patients provided with a view of parking lots. Awe can transform us. It empowers us to collaborate, opens our minds to wonders, and to see the deep patterns of life. From our first breath, Keltner says, to our last, awe moves us to deepen our relations with the wonders of life and to wonder at the vast mysteries that are part of our fleeting time here. Awe, Keltner says, seems to orient us to devote ourselves to things outside of ourselves, to sacrifice and serve, to sense that the boundaries between our individual selves and others readily dissolve, that our true nature is collective. So how can we get more awe? In 2016, Dr. Keltner visited San Quentin State Prison in California, where he heard inmates speak about finding awe in the air, light, the imagined sound of a child, reading, and spiritual practice. The experience changed the way he thought of awe. He realized, oh, I can just take a breath and look around. It doesn't require privilege or wealth. Awe is just around us. Since it's so good for us, Reese included in the Times article Keltner's suggestions for developing skills and finding awe. First, to find more awe, focus on the moral beauty of others. One of the most reliable ways to experience awe, Keltner found, was in the simple act of witnessing the goodness of others. When we see others doing small gestures like walking an older person across the street, we start feeling better and are more likely to perform good deeds. Another tool to experience awe, Dr. Keltner said, is to spend time learning about people who inspire. Research suggests that watching videos of people like Mother Teresa or Mahatma Gandhi, for instance, can trigger awe. Remind yourself of what they've written, have quotes of them, have photos of them, he said. Make them part of your life. Second, to find more awe, choose the unfamiliar path. Mary teaches its unfamiliar paths. Awe often comes from novelty. We can work on developing more openness through everyday choices. Choose a restaurant you don't usually visit, take a different route to work, or check out some music you aren't familiar with. In his book, Dr. Keltner wrote, the people who find awe all around them are more open to new ideas, to what is unknown, to what language can't describe. And third, to find more awe, practice mindfulness meditation. Distraction, Dr. Keltner said, is an enemy of awe. It impedes focus, which is essential for achieving awe. Mindfulness helps us focus and lessens the power of distractions. If you work on mindfulness, awe will come. And some studies show that people who are meditating experience more awe. Awe has a lot of the same neurophysiology as deep contemplation. So spending time slowing down, breathing deeply, and reflecting on top of their own benefits have the added advantage of priming us for awe. So let's prime the pump. We have next a meditation on an apple. Have an apple, everybody, people. One here, leave them. These are very special apples because they're so ordinary. They're just Macs, you know, everybody's looking for the galas and the pink ladies and the really sweet ones. This is a Mac. It's down to earth, right? And in fact, I got the last 3 bags of Macs, and some of them are bruised, so you're looking at it. Don't eat it yet. And if you don't want to eat it, you don't want to take it home, just leave it in the other room. We'll make some applesauce here or something. So anyway, this is practically the only apple I knew as a child. It's a McIntyre apple, commonly grown in the northeastern US and Canada. Though it looks very ordinary, it is the best apple for making apple desserts, most especially apple pie and applesauce. It's very slightly tart, and it has a distinctive flavor. It's also a wonderful snack and makes a heck of a good Waldorf salad. And up in New England, we wouldn't say Waldorf, we would say Waldorf. Look at your apple. Here in this very ordinary subject, we can find the universe, as Carl Sagan implied. We will consider a small part of that universe this morning and find that the small part is really rather large. This meditation is based on a meditation by Wendy Johnson and published in Dharma Rain, Sources of Buddhist Environmentalism. Please take a moment to find a comfortable posture. Perhaps the same comfortable position you found earlier this morning. Shoulders down, arms at your side, hands on your thighs. Not too far forward with your hands so that your shoulders don't pull down. Face and eyebrows relaxed. Your apple resting in your hands. You can close your eyes if you want to. Now take a few clearing breaths. This morning, the apple trees of the Mohawk Valley in New York State and Massachusetts offer you their great treasures. The earth herself, laid bare by a hoe, brings up the apple harvest. Consider this Macintosh apple in your hand. In full mindfulness and happiness, hold this fruit of understanding and compassion. Let your intellect, your thinking mind, your judging mind float away on the back of this morning's clouds. Still your mind from thinking that you have something better or more noble to do. You don't. Paying attention to the details of this very simple apple is an important practice. Focusing your mind so that you can notice more moments of wonder is, in the words of Mary Oliver, a serious thing. The apple tree calls you into the center of your garden, into your own body. Gather yourself this fine morning. The apple has flourished since the Neolithic era, arising in southwestern Asia, in Turkestan and the Caucasian Mountains. The original apple was the wild Siberian crab apple. This very apple contains Asia. Charred remains of an apple have been found in prehistoric lake dwellings in Switzerland. Evidence of the migration of the apple more than 100,000 years ago. This very apple contains parts of Europe. In the heart of this fruit, the apple seeds are encased in a leathery envelope, protected as they grow in the center of the crisp, sweet flesh. If you cut an apple globe along the middle equator, each half of the fruit reveals a star pattern. The stars that dwell at the core are seeds of our wonder and compassion. These seeds have carried the apple out into the world in the craw of raccoon or badger, dropped by jay or robin, spreading themselves across the world. In this apple are the lives of the animals that transported those seeds. Alexander the Great brought the domestic apple out of Persia to Greece 400 years before the birth of Jesus. The parent of this Macintosh apple in your hand is a descendant of this migration. Thank you, Alexander, for this apple. All dessert apples are grafted onto the roots of crab apples. This means that the choicest apples share a common lineage, strong wild roots of the ancient ancestral crab apple with a recent variety grafted onto the roots for refined flavor. No one knows the original rootstock of the Macintosh, But this apple contains the work of one John McIntosh, who discovered the original tree in 1881 in an overgrown section of orchard on his farm in Ontario, Canada. And the work of his son Alan, who grafted the cultivar onto the winter hardy roots of another apple tree. Since then, McIntosh apples and descendants of that one tree have been cultivated in Canada, New York, and Massachusetts. All summer long, an apple tree's leaves breathed in carbon dioxide from the wide sky, breathing to form apples like the one in your hand. This apple contains the sky. We know it takes 30 to 40 breathing leaves to produce one beautiful piece of fruit. Leaves breathe as we breathe, giving back to the sky moisture drawn up by the roots of the apple tree. An apple tree in peak growth returns to the atmosphere 15 tons of transpired water in one growing season. In fall, the apple tree loosens her leaves. The leaves release their stem hold. They spin down around you and drift down to become black soil with the winter rains. Lift your apple and breathe its perfume. Feel its smooth skin. Imagine the bees working the apple blossoms of springtime, bumbling in the apple blossoms to pollinate the very fruit you hold today. The apple contains the life of a bee. A honeybee produces honey made from nectar, perhaps gathered from the orchards of these very fruits. Remember the honeybee's work when you taste its sweetness. Your apples grew in the fertile Mohawk Valley of New York State or the Osabat River Valley in New England. These are the same river valleys that previously nourished deciduous forests and provided hunting grounds, fresh water, and fish for the Nipmuc people during their seasonal migrations for these 3 or 4 centuries before the McIntosh apple orchards were planted. This apple contains the Nipmuc and Abenaki and Mohawk peoples. Who picked this fruit? Migrant workers from Jamaica worked to give you this apple. The workers arrived last April and have stayed through the fall. Take a moment to feel their hands in the fruit you hold. Some have working papers. Some are undocumented. Feel their stories in your apple. Taste their lives in the living apple in your hands. And please taste your own life. Taste your choice to stand in the garden, to accept and eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge. Taste your commitment to the garden you stand in, the garden you love. Gather yourself around this fragrant apple, a fruit produced with love and awareness over thousands of years. Taste the work and life of countless beings in the flesh of this fruit, and take some time to savor the sweetness of this present moment. And now we'll have a closing hymn. It's number 77, Seek Not Afar for Beauty. normally, let's see, quote the words, good. Yes, good. So we'll read them together, the closing words. Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings. Ladies, for joys and concern.
And thank you for sharing. And Miranda will have the benediction. And
All right. So this is a combo. This is going to be extinguish the bells and the benediction at the same time. You're seeing it for the first time here. So here we go. Hokusai says, look carefully. He says, pay attention, notice. He says, look, keep looking, stay curious. He says, there is no end to seeing. Look, feel, let life take you by the hand. Let life live through you. May the merits of this practice benefit all living beings.